Title: Why Australia's top blood donor drives 200 kilometres every fortnight to give blood. Jeff Blogg, Australia's top blood donor with 854 donations, drives 200 kilometres every 2 weeks to donate blood. Red Cross Lifeblood is urging people to donate blood as cancellations have increased due to illness. Blood types A and O are in high demand, and each donation can save up to 3 lives. Winter is already a challenging time for donations because regular donors fall ill with colds and flus. Mr. Blogg says he enjoys being the top donor, but his reason for donating blood is that it's needed. He encourages people to donate blood, and his daughter's birth reaffirmed his commitment to giving. Conservationists file complaint with ASIC over fertilizer producers' climate marketing. The Environmental Defenders Office (EDO), representing the Conservation Council of SA, has asked the Australian Securities and Investments Commission (ASIC) to investigate whether Noi Rizza, a Lee Creek fertilizer company, has made misleading or deceptive carbon-neutral claims. The company plans to begin production in 2025 and claims to be Australia's first carbon-neutral producer of urea fertilizer. However, the EDO argues that underground coal gasification is not an environmentally safe or responsible method. Noi Rizza has denied the allegations and stated that it had its sites independently audited and had purchased offsets to ensure carbon neutrality. The ASIC is yet to respond to the complaint. Title: Opal miners to receive refunds after government blunder leaves them without work. Opal miners in outback New South Wales will receive refunds after an administrative error by the Mining, Exploration, and Geoscience (MEG) department left them without valid licenses for 8 years. The state government has announced a refund scheme for the administration levies, license fees and renewal costs. Third-generation Lightning Ridge opal miner Shane Morris expressed confusion and frustration over the revalidation process and the unclear communication from the government. Despite apologising for the mess, the government has yet to reveal how long miners will have to wait for revalidated licenses and if there will be any compensation for their lost income. Former massage therapist pleads not guilty to 66 charges including rape and indecent assault. Former massage therapist Sumit Satish Rastogi has pleaded not guilty to 66 charges, including rape and indecent assault, in an Adelaide court. The 36-year-old is accused of 112 sexual offences, including 57 counts of indecent assault and 52 counts of indecent filming that date back to October 2021. Rastogi, who previously pleaded guilty to 44 counts of indecent filming and 2 counts of indecent assault, worked at Forever Massage in Glenelg. After initial reports of his arrest, another 4 women came forward alleging he had indecently assaulted them. He is due to face the district court in October for an arraignment hearing. Title: Catastrophic flooding in Ukraine's southeast threatens food and water supplies. The Kharkovka Reservoir in southern Ukraine's Novokharkovka Dam has burst, causing severe flooding in the Dnipro River. The man-made reservoir, one of the largest in the world, holds about 36 Sydney harbours, and the flooding has destroyed villages and caused food and water supplies to be endangered. The dam wall, which was also used as a bridge, was destroyed, severing a key crossing of Ukraine's most important river. Both sides of the war have blamed each other for its destruction, and towns and districts west of the dam have been ordered to evacuate. Ukraine's highly anticipated counteroffensive may also be impacted. New ChatGPT detector most accurate yet, say scientists. But will it work in the real world? Scientists have developed a tool that can detect AI-generated text with up to 99% accuracy. Developed by researchers at the University of Kansas, the ChatGPT detector could help journal editors to identify papers written with the help of chatbots. The researchers analyzed 64 human-written perspective articles from Science and compared them to 128 ChatGPT-generated articles on the same research topics. They identified 20 characteristics that could help decide the authorship of scientific texts. While experts are questioning how useful such tools will be, the technology could be adapted to pick up plagiarism among students. Title: KPMG suggests reforms as PwC scandal rocks the consulting sector. Consulting firm KPMG has proposed a list of reforms to restore trust in the consulting sector, after rival firm PwC was embroiled in a tax leak scandal. KPMG's CEO Andrew Yates has recommended introducing an integrity charter, codifying the voluntary code into legislation, reviewing tax advisory firm governance and strengthening best practice principles. 9 PwC partners have been directed to take leave, and former head of international tax Peter John Collins has been barred from practicing until December 2024 after an investigation into his behavior. Greens Senator Barbara Pocock accused Treasury officials of sleeping at the wheel during the Senate committee investigation. Title: Australia to go check less by 2030, mobile wallet use on the rise. The Australian government has announced plans to phase out cheques by the end of the decade, in a bid to reduce processing costs and cater to the growing popularity of digital transactions. Treasurer Jim Chalmers stated that digital payments are easier, cheaper, and more accessible, with 98% of retail cheque payments able to be serviced through internet or mobile banking. The rise of mobile wallet use in Australia has been significant, with transactions increasing from $746 million Australian in 2018 to over $93 billion Australian in 2022. More than 15.3 million cards were registered to mobile wallets in 2022. Understandable concern as lead detected in drinking water at Far North Queensland schools. Elevated lead levels have been detected in water supplies at a kindergarten, primary and secondary schools in a Far North Queensland Aboriginal community. Children and staff in Yarrabah, Australia's largest discrete Indigenous community, are now being offered bottled water and blood tests as investigations into the contamination continue. Queensland's Chief Health Officer, John Gerard, said routine testing revealed heightened levels of lead within the past 24 hours. Blood tests will be available at the Gurrini Workshop Road Clinic in Yarrabah from Friday. Workers at one of Victoria's most loved tourist attractions threaten to strike. Unionised workers at Sovereign Hill, one of Victoria's most famous tourist attractions, could go on a full strike if their demands on pay and working conditions are not met. The union representing the workers has said that negotiations with Sovereign Hill management over the enterprise bargaining agreement have reached a stalemate after an 11-month process. More than 82% of union members have voted in favour of a strike of up to 24 hours unless management agrees to demands, which include an increased pay rise offer. Sovereign Hill management is putting its offer out to all staff to vote on, and the outcome will be decided on June 14. Link. Title: CSIRO considers random drug testing for employees. CSIRO, the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation, is considering implementing random drug testing for its staff across the nation. The proposal from management would include testing for cannabis, even though a large number of staff are legally able to possess and use the drug. The policy would also allow for cause testing, which authorises an immediate drug test if there is reasonable cause. However, the proposal has sparked strong concerns from the union representing 40% of the CSIRO workforce, citing privacy concerns and lack of consultation with staff. A consultation process is now underway to gather more feedback on the policy. Title: Natural gas to play major role in $1.5 billion Middle Arm Precinct. The Middle Arm Sustainable Development Precinct on Darwin Harbour will heavily rely on so-called blue hydrogen requiring natural gas, as revealed by the Northern Territory government documents. The undated plans for the precinct obtained by the NT Environment Centre through Freedom of Information laws include 3 scenarios, 2 of which set aside land for the production of green and blue hydrogen. The NT government plans to pitch to the Federal Department of Infrastructure for Commonwealth investment. The feasibility study for the industrial precinct, backed by gas giants Santos and INPEX, will cost $1 million and could support up to 20,000 jobs. Title: Mother of slain Melbourne woman faces daughter's killer in court, demands harshest punishment. Renkin Lee confronted June Seong-tan in a Melbourne court, after a jury found him guilty of murdering her daughter, Ju Kelly Zhang. Zhang's body was found at a landfill 4 months after her disappearance in 2021. In the court hearing, Ms. Lee and Zhang's young son gave victim impact statements, with Ms. Lee urging the judge to give Tan the most severe punishment in criminal law. Tan, who had initially pleaded not guilty, has now admitted to the murder. The trial heard that Zhang's 9-year-old son was in the house when Tan killed her. Jenny Craig collapses in Australia and New Zealand after no buyer found for weight loss company. Jenny Craig's Australian and New Zealand operations are set to immediately cease trading after administrators failed to find a buyer for the weight loss company's physical stores. Despite 15 interested parties, 4 of which submitted non-binding indicative offers, no buyers could be found, according to FTI Consulting. The online capacity of the business will be sold to healthcare technology company Eucalyptus, which will continue to offer online weight loss solutions to customers. The Weight Loss Empire provides pre-prepared meals, snacks, and weight loss coaching, and has recruited a number of high-profile ambassadors since its inception. Title: Legal battle continues over Calvary Public Hospital takeover in Canberra. Canberra Health Services staff will have to wait until early next week to access the site of Calvary Public Hospital and finalise transition arrangements due to legal action. Calvary Health Care has launched a bid for an injunction to halt the government takeover of the hospital, arguing that the enabling legislation passed last week did not provide just terms for the acquisition of Calvary's business and assets. The ACT government hopes to keep Calvary Public Hospital's 1,800 staff and complete the transition without interruption to services. The ACT Supreme Court is expected to make orders by Tuesday next week. Hashtags. Head century helps Australia dominate opening day of World Test Championship final. Australia's Travis Head scored an unbeaten century, with Steve Smith's 95 not out, leading to Australia being in complete control of the World Test Championship final against India. Head's 146 made batting look easy, putting on an incredible 251 for the 4th wicket with Smith, which put the Aussies firmly on top. India's Rohit Sharma opted to bowl first and was delighted to see the back of Usman Khawaja in just the 4th over of the day. However, early wickets were thwarted by the efforts of David Warner and Marnus Loughshane, who saw off the Duke ball, which swung throughout the day's play. Title: Australia and India face off in ICC World Test Championship final. Australia and India are set to go head-to-head in the ICC World Test Championship final at the Oval in London. This highly anticipated match has cricket fans around the world on the edge of their seats. The winner of this match will be crowned the champions of the inaugural ICC World Test Championship. Follow our live scorecard for updates on the match as it happens, or check out our live blog for more detailed analysis. Don't miss out on this exciting event. Title: New South Wales MP Gareth Ward to avoid second suspension over sexual abuse charges. Kiama MP Gareth Ward will not be suspended for a second time from New South Wales Parliament despite facing criminal charges over historic sexual abuse allegations. The Parliament's Privileges and Ethics Committee, made up of lower house MPs, warned against suspending an MP for alleged conduct outside the Parliament. The committee's chair, Alex Greenwich, said the suspension of a member can potentially have serious and negative consequences on the House, a member's constituents, victims of alleged crimes, and the presumption of innocence of a member. Ward's trial is set for next year, and he has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Title: Dutton denies shadow ministers misrepresented federal court judges during Voice debate. Federal opposition leader Peter Dutton has denied allegations that members of his party deliberately misrepresented the opinions of federal court judges during a debate on the Constitution Alteration Bill on an Indigenous voice to Parliament. Shadow ministers Angus Taylor and Andrew Hastie were reported to have taken quotes from former higher court judges Robert French and Kenneth Hayne out of context during the Voice debate. However, Mr. Dutton dismissed the reporting and denied the claims, stating that the quotes were made directly by the justices involved and were included in Hansard. The issue has raised questions about the use of partial quotes in parliamentary reports. Pope Francis to undergo abdominal surgery, will be put under general anesthetic. The Vatican has announced that Pope Francis will be hospitalized for several days after undergoing abdominal surgery in Rome. The 86-year-old will be put under general anesthetic to repair a laparoscele, which is a hernia that sometimes forms over a scar from previous surgery, or can be caused by obesity or weakness of the abdominal wall muscles. The condition has been causing painful, intestinal occlusions. The Pope had spent around 40 minutes at the same hospital on Tuesday having a checkup. In July 2021, he had part of his colon removed in an operation aimed at addressing a painful bowel condition called diverticulitis. Queensland will not meet 2031 deadline to close the gap on First Nations life expectancy, report finds. Queensland's health system will not meet its 2031 target to eliminate the life expectancy gap between First Nations and non-Indigenous Australians, according to a report from the Queensland Audit Office. The report also found that First Nations patients were twice as likely to avoid specialist appointments due to the cost of travel, while remote areas have higher rates of preventable hospitalizations. The report recommended the recruitment of more Indigenous liaison officers and an increase in the accessibility of travel schemes, as well as regular performance reporting to assess the success of strategies to improve the delivery of culturally appropriate care. Federal government to introduce national ban on Nazi symbols. The federal government has announced plans to ban Nazi symbols and the sale of related goods for profit. The Counter-Terrorism Legislation Amendment Prohibited Hate Symbols and Other Measures bill will introduce a ban on symbols related to Nazis or the SS, including on flags, armbands, T-shirts in public and online, with a maximum penalty of up to 12 months imprisonment. The move to ban Nazi symbols has been welcomed by many and is a step towards tackling far-right extremism in Australia. The ban will not include the swastika or the Nazi salute due to the religious significance of the symbol in Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism. Right Extremism Terrorism Legislation Amendment. Title: Putin calls dam breach a catastrophe, Ukraine makes advances in Bakhmut. Russian President Vladimir Putin has called the destruction of the Kakhovka Dam an environmental and humanitarian catastrophe, while Turkey has suggested forming an international commission to investigate the issue. The dam breach occurred in the Dnipro River, which separates Russian and Ukrainian forces in southern Ukraine. Ukraine has accused Russia of blowing up the dam in a deliberate war crime, but the Kremlin denies this. Meanwhile, Ukrainian troops have made advances up to 1,100 meters near the city of Bakhmut in the past 24 hours. The counter-offensive is hoped to be a turning point in the war, but Kyiv has portrayed the assaults as localized. Lionel Messi set to join Inter Miami in MLS following PSG exit, reports claim. Lionel Messi is reportedly set to join Inter Miami in the Major League Soccer (MLS) as a free agent. The Argentine superstar's move comes after his departure from French champ Paris Saint-Germain over the weekend. The 35-year-old was also linked to a return to Barcelona, but the Spanish club could not afford the transfer due to La Liga's financial fair play rules. Messi's preference to have an ownership stake and maximize his partnership with Adidas and MLS's relationship with Apple led him to choose the MLS. The move is expected to bring more viewers to the Apple TV streaming platform and boost MLS's revenue. Human remains found in bags are missing call center staff, Mexican authorities confirmed. Mexican authorities have confirmed that the human remains found in plastic bags belong to the missing workers of a call center run by the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. As many as 8 youths were reported missing last month, and suspicions rose when piles of hacked-up body parts were discovered. Forensic examiners confirmed on Monday that the remains belong to the missing workers. The cartel has reportedly branched out beyond drug trafficking, extortion and kidnapping and now operates call centers that scam Americans and Canadians through fake timeshare offers. There have been reports that the workers were killed after they tried to quit their jobs. Title: Canadian wildfire smoke spreads hazardous haze at home and in the U.S. Smoke from Canadian wildfires has spread to the U.S. East Coast and Midwest, causing an unhealthy haze in both nations' capitals, grounding flights at major airports, and prompting people to wear face masks. More than 400 wildfires have hit Canada this season, displacing over 20,000 people. The air quality is at hazardous levels of pollution, stretching to as far as Virginia and Indiana and affecting millions of people. "I can taste the air," said Dr. Ken Strumpf from Syracuse, New York, who described the smoke as making him dizzy. The Canadian officials have asked for help from other countries to fight the fires.